Hey everyone, welcome to Cross the Ditch and See. My name is Laura and I'm so glad you're here today. Today I want to talk to you about winter sowing and also about starting seeds, but I'm going to give you a little twist. I'm going to kind of continue my little series I've started about gardening on a dime, and I'm going to show you how you can start seeds at home and you don't have to go out and buy a whole bunch of seed starting supplies like trays and things like that, that you have all the stuff around your home to do this successfully and cheaply. So stick around and I hope you like today's video. All right, so let's talk about starting seeds and doing so cheaply. Like I've said many times before, one of my goals of this channel is to show you that no matter where you live and no matter what your financial state is, that you can have a garden. You can start seeds, you can grow your plants successfully, and you can do so cheaply. You can do so in small spaces or even no space at all. All you have to do is plan ahead just a little bit, be a little bit creative, and you can have food for your family. You can grow vegetables for you and your family. So let's get started. So as I mentioned, you need to do a little bit of planning ahead in order to be able to start seeds without having to buy like the commercial seed starting trays. And it's actually pretty easy. I guarantee you throughout the winter months and even during the summer, you have all the supplies in your home at some point that you need. All you need to do is wash them off and save them until it's time to start seeds. So for example, everyone uses the bathroom, right? So why not save your toilet paper tubes? Because you can use these to start seeds with, and I will show you how here in just a little bit. You can either use them just like this or by making your own little seed starting pot, and I'll show you how to do that in just a few minutes. Save different plastic containers around the house. I'm going to show you in a minute how to make greenhouses out of these. It's a really cool concept, really cool idea. Water bottles, soda bottles, milk jugs, water jugs, like right here. Great for seed starting and great to create little greenhouses, which is called winter sowing. So I'm excited to share that with you. And like I've shown you in previous videos, you can also save, like if you buy the rotisserie chickens from your local deli or big box store, if they have a deli in there, the container that the rotisserie chicken is fantastic for starting seeds. You can actually use this throughout the winter to grow microgreens if you want to, but you can also use it to start seeds. And saving the top of it creates a little dome, and you can use that as a little greenhouse. Saving containers like butter containers, Cool Whip containers, another great way to start seeds. You can also use these as little planters. And then cups, styrofoam, solo cups, or even paper cups. Just keep in mind if you use paper products, they're gonna break down over time. But plastic cups, styrofoam cups, you can use those. Once again, this is a great way to recycle all of these materials too, so they're not going into the landfill. Also, if you have bought plant starts in the past, or you have friends or family who have bought plant starts in the past, ask them to save those containers for you. I mean, you can reuse these for years and years and years to come. I couldn't tell you how long I've had these, but you can reuse these year after year, so don't throw these away. Or if you've bought larger plant starts, save the containers that they come in. You can reuse those time and time and time again. Another thing you can use, you go to a restaurant, or if you're like me, I like going to the coffee shop, and sometimes the kids will go with me, and we get multiple drinks, and they give you these drink trays. They are like a recycled paper cardboard material. You can use these to start seeds and plants in. Once again, like all paper products, it's going to break down over time with the moisture and stuff, but it's a good way to start seeds. So like I was saying earlier, all you have to do is plan ahead and save items, even like yogurt containers, anything like that. You can use those things to start your seeds and even use them as planters going down, the road as plants get bigger, to start growing food for you and your family. Now, let's get started on how to turn all of this into seed starts or containers to start seeds with, and also into mini greenhouses. So as you're saving your supplies, you want to make sure they are clean. So all I've done is put a little bit of soap into these containers and washed them out and just let the water drain. I didn't worry about getting them super dry because I knew I was going to be using them soon. But I just cleaned everything out and I set them to the side in a little pile. You can put them in a bag, you can put them in a box, or you can start making a tower out of them in the corner of your house. But just start saving these supplies, clean them up really good. After you do that, you just need to wait for the right time to start some seeds. So right now in zone 8A, Eastern North Carolina, you can start things like broccoli and cauliflower, cabbage for the spring garden, things that don't mind the cool weather, things that are frost tolerant, lettuces, things of that nature. And it's starting to get back time here where we can start direct sowing some of these cooler weather items as well, like radish, putting it straight in the dirt. But there are some more late spring into the summer vegetables that you can go ahead and start planting now, because those seeds require a period of time after being planted that they have to be cold. So like artichokes, when you plant artichoke seed, they need several nights below a certain temperature. They like the 40-degree range in order for it to trigger that seed to say, hey, it's time to start germination. Strawberries are another type of seed that like doing that. And some articles say that lavender is the same way, some say not. So I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to try lavender both ways. But just kind of look at whatever zone you live in. Consult the Farmer's Almanac, put in your zip code, and they'll tell you exactly when you need to start planting a lot of these vegetables. Actually, in this upcoming week, I'm going to be start planting tomatoes and peppers. Yeah, I know there's still snow on the ground here, but it is time to start planting those as well. So just kind of have in your mind what you want to plant, what you want to grow for you, what you want to grow for your family. Go ahead and get your hands on those seeds and have them ready to plant in these containers. So let's get to the containers. We've washed them, we've cleaned them, and now we want to plant seeds in them. First, everything's going to fall down. First, I'm going to show you how to make this little pot. There you go. Out of toilet paper containers. Super simple, super easy. And this is really something that you can bring the whole family in. The kids might even enjoy doing this. So the easiest way to make this little pot out of a toilet paper tube, you can even use a paper towel tube. If you use a paper towel tube, you know, they're longer. They're like 3 toilet paper tubes put together. You can cut them into sections to make smaller planters. You can even do that with a toilet paper tube. You could cut it in half. I personally would recommend leaving these the length that they are. That way when you turn them into a planter, you'll still have more room for your dirt and more room for your roots to grow so they can stay in that container longer. So the first thing you do with your little cardboard tubes for toilet paper, paper towels, is you want to squish them. So I take mine and I just flatten it in half, crease it, and then I flip it the other way, kind of like you're doing a diamond. Bring those two creases that you just made together, flatten it again in the opposite direction. So now when you bring it back together, you have created a square. Okay? And then the next thing you want to do is to go about, I'd say maybe a ½ an inch, maybe just a little bit less, up each side like this on the crease. Do it on the crease. This is hard doing it because I can't see what I'm doing very well. But cut it maybe ½ an inch or so, like that. And do that to all 4 sides, all 4 creases. Just on one end of the pot though. Don't do both ends, just do one end. About ½ an inch or so. All right, so I have all those done. Once you do that, you want to fold those little flaps that you just made, fold them outward. Like that. Just so you're making a little crease in them, so they'll be easier to fold here in just a minute. All right, so I have folded them outward. Looks like a little box now. And then you're going to fold them back together, and you're going to do them just like you would the lid of a box, where you fold it together and then the last one you tuck underneath. So fold one down, then fold, you know, go to the right. You can go to the right or left, it don't matter. I'm just going to go to my right. Fold one down, then go to the next one. Then when you get to the last one, I'm trying to do this without being able to see it. When you go to this last one, you're going to fold it underneath the bottom one, just like you would a box lid. You got to refold. There you go. So it's just like you're folding together the top of a box. And there you go. You have yourself a little planter. So now you can put your dirt in here, you can put your seeds in here, and you can set this, you know, in a little tray, so they all kind of stick together. So I'll do this one real quick. Folding my sides, cutting each corner about a ½ inch or so. Uh-oh, there we go. Folding them back. And then folding them together like the lid of a box. Tucking the last one underneath. And there we go. I have 3 little pots out of toilet paper tubes. So you could, honestly, you could take your Cool Whip container if you have one, and I failed to bring a knife outside with me. That was not very smart. Poke holes in the bottom of the container so it doesn't hold water, because you never ever want your seedlings setting in soaking wet soil. You never want them sitting in water. So anytime you are planting anything, you want to make sure it has good drainage. So poke holes in the bottom, and then you could just set these in here, fill this little container up, and you have something to hold your little seed pots that you just made with toilet paper tubes. All right, so something like this, you could just put the dirt in the holes and plant your seeds and water it. Water it gently. But now we are going to get to the cups. So using a plastic cup, let me grab this over here. So you can use the plastic cup to plant seeds in, or if you start seedlings in smaller containers like this, you can use this to what we call up pot. So your seedling eventually is going to, the roots are going to fill up the soil that is in here, and you're going to need to either put that seedling in the ground, or you need to put it in a bigger pot so it doesn't get root bound and end up like killing itself off. So you can use a solo cup for that, or you can just start your seeds straight into this cup. How to use cups to start seedlings: all you need to do, poke some holes in it. I'm not going to poke my hole in the bottom. I'm actually going to poke holes at the very bottom, not the very bottom, but on the sides towards the bottom of the cup, so water can drain out that way. But I'm just going to poke some little holes right there. You don't need too terribly many. And this would do better if I had an actual knife. But just poke you a few little drainage holes right at the base of the cup. If you want to poke them in the bottom, you can. That's perfectly fine. But you can poke them in the sides of the cup too. Put your dirt in here and put your seed in here, and you have yourself a little planter for super cheap. You can get like a pack of 20 cups from the Dollar Tree for $1. So let's talk about winter sowing. And this is going to kind of incorporate the whole idea of planting things cheaply, but also winter sowing, which is kind of like creating a little bit of a greenhouse with your seedlings or with your plastic bottles for your seedlings to grow in. All right, for winter sowing, all you need are some plastic drink bottles, soda bottles, water bottles, sweet tea bottles. You could use orange juice bottles, water jugs, milk jugs, anything like that. Like I mentioned earlier, you want to just wash them out really good, get the remnants of whatever was in there out of it, so you'll have a clean place to plant your seeds. I like to remove the labels, so just cut the labels off. If you don't get the entire label off, that's perfectly fine, but you want to try to get off as much as you can. I got tired of trying to peel the label off of this container, so I just left the rest of it there. So you have your clean containers, you've removed your labels. Next you need water, dirt, seeds, and tape, and a marker. Water, dirt, seeds, tape, and a marker. That's it. So you're gonna take whatever plastic bottle you have. You saw this probably fall open a while ago, so I'll start there. You want to take whatever container you're going to use, and you want to cut it so you can open it. But you don't want to remove the top section completely. You want to create like a little hinge. So I'll show you real quick how to do that. I'll use this soda bottle right here. I'm going to take the lid off. I'm going to toss my lid out, toss it in recycling, because I don't need it. If someone has a creative way to use these lids, then let me know, because I would love to not waste those. So take your water jug, milk jug, water bottle, soda bottle, whatever you're using, and you just want to cut it. I cut mine in half, so I have plenty of room to work with. So you can use a sharp knife, you can use scissors, however you want to do it. Just keep your fingers and your hands out of the way. So I'm just going to literally cut this in half, but I'm going to leave a small section of it intact so it acts like a hinge. I'll try to cut a straight line, but I'm not good at that. Okay. So I have taken this soda bottle, I have cut it, and I have created or left one side intact to act as a hinge, and that's all you have to do. It's that easy. So you can do the same thing with your water bottles. I did that with a water bottle. I am not going to try to cut this because I'm going to need a little bit something sharper than these scissors to cut this, because this is really thick plastic. So I'll do that in a little bit. Milk jugs, water jugs, once again, you don't need the lid. You're going to leave the top open so water can get in there. But on a milk jug or a water jug, you want to start cutting to the side right here, to the side of the handle. You're not going to cut this area where the handle is. This area is super strong plastic, so you want to leave that intact for your hinge. So you kind of start to the side of it and cut around to the other side. Sorry, someone was riding by my house and they were riding very slowly. I don't like it when people do that. Makes me nervous. All right, so I'm just gonna start to the side of the handle. I made my initial cut right here. I'm just gonna cut around to the front of the jug. If I can get my scissors back in there. My son's still playing in the snow. Usually in North Carolina, or at least in eastern North Carolina, when it snows, it's one of those here today, gone tomorrow kind of things, which I don't mind one bit. But this one has stuck around for 3 days now, and I am thoroughly shocked. Not complaining though, because the kids have been having fun. All right, so I have cut from next to the handle all the way around, and then I left this back part uncut so we can use it as a hinge. I actually need to cut that just a little bit more. So I cut it all the way except for right here. I did not cut this part right here. So now we have a good hinge. All right, so what you need to do next is have a good seed starting mix. I'm gonna put my gloves on because my fingers are numb from being so cold. Hang on just a second. Okay, so once you have your bottles cut and you've decided what seeds you want to plant, you need to grab, let's move this stuff out of the way, grab you some good seed starting mix, and I have already pre-moistened this. It is better to go ahead and wet your dirt before you put it in your whatever trays or bottles you're using to start seeds. It's better to go ahead and pre-moisten it and put it in there, because if you put it in there and then you plant your seed and then you pour or spray water on top of it, you could push that seed down into the dirt further than it needs to go, and then that seed's going to have to work harder to germinate and to grow out of that dirt, and it may not germinate at all at that point. So go ahead and pre-moisten your mix, and you want it to be able to, you know, you've got it wet enough when you can grab it and squeeze it and water don't drip out, but it kind of stays together in a clump, so you know you've got it good and moist at that point. All right, so tray spots, everything's falling off. So the next step, pretty easy. Open your container up, fill it with your soil. I normally use my bare hands when putting soil into my trays and into my pots, but it is cold. It is very cold right now. So I filled this soil to probably a little over half the height. I'm gonna put a little bit more in there. A little over half the height of the bottom cut of the container, and I'm just gonna gently tamp it down. I'm not gonna push hard, I don't wanna pack it, but just kind of gently tap it down. You can see it's probably 3/4 deep with dirt. And it is ready to be planted. So depending upon what you're planting is to how deep you want to put your seeds. Some seeds you literally just set on the surface of the soil, give a little spritz with a water bottle of water, and that's all you need to do. Some seeds say to put it, you know, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch deep. So whatever your seed instructions say to do that. In this container, I'm going to start my wasabi arugula from Baker Creek. I'm excited to try this. I love the flavor of wasabi. I love the tanginess and the spiciness of arugula, so I'm excited to see these two mixed together. So, reading my directions, it should germinate in about 5 to 7 days, so I should see you know, these little guys popping through the dirt in about a week's time. The ideal temp for this to grow is between 40 and 70 degrees, which is perfect because our daytime temps here are in the 40s right now. I think for the next week or two, it's forecast to be in the 40s to 50s, so it's perfect for this. This seed depth is planted 1/8 inch deep. Once the plants get bigger, they'll be 6 inches apart. They are frost hardy, which is good because our For where I live, our projected last frost date is like April 4th to April 10th. We actually had one last year happen Mother's Day weekend. So, you know, that's just a ballpark figure. It can come later. And it needs 4 to 8 hours of sun a day. So I am going to put a few of these seeds in here. Oh, they are tiny, y'all. So tiny. Like little fleas, they're so tiny. They are stuck to the glue. Wow, that's awesome. My dude's out there rolling up snow. These seeds, I don't know if you can, I don't even know how to get you to see these. These are tiny. Let me see if I can use a bottle cap. I don't think I've ever planted seeds this tiny. Like, I thought lettuce seeds were small, but these are, oh man, they're stuck in here now. Hang on. I'll see if I can get you to see these. Can you even see those? The little polka dots. Those are tiny seeds. Okay, so I'm just going to shake these in here. I'm actually gonna multi-sow these. And what that is just putting several seeds in an area, because as they grow, I can thin them out, space them out a little bit more. Your lettuces and stuff do fairly decent with multi-sowing anyway. That's another good tip to share with you guys. If you're trying to save space, most seeds do really well with multi-sowing. So to give you a good example of that, let's say I am starting, let's say I'm using this seed starting, the 6 cell seed pack here. And most people would put their dirt in here and put their seeds in here, and they'd put 1 seed in each hole. So I would only have 6 plants as long as all of them germinated. But with multi-sowing, you could put, depending upon the plant, you could put 2, 3, maybe even 4, some depending upon the plant, more than that, but 2, 3, or 4 seeds in each cell. And then as the seedlings got bigger and you went to go either up pot them, like putting them in cups, or you went to go transplant them into your garden, then you would gently take them out, separate them. So say I was planting peppers and I put 2 seeds in each little cell here. Oops. I would have a total of 12 seeds, or 12 plants, because I would have 2 in each. So what I would do then is when I went to go transplant these seeds into my garden, I would just pull them out and gently pull them apart. And then at that point, I would have 2 separate plants to transplant into my garden. So it's a great way to save space when you're starting seeds by using the multi-sowing technique. So I'll share more about that later, but just kind of a heads up and something to keep in mind when sowing. But lettuce does really good with multi-sowing, and a lot of times you don't even have to thin it out too much when you're doing certain types of lettuce. Alright, so I just sprinkled the wasabi arugula seeds on top of my dirt. I didn't worry about planting them or spacing them as I planted them, because I was going to multi-sow them, and these do fairly decent doing that. So now these only have to be planted 1/8 of an inch deep. So I'm just going to take the back of my hand and gently press the dirt down. Literally, that's just pressing the seeds into the dirt. I am not going to put any dirt on top, because I honestly don't think I could successfully put that 1/8 of an inch. Brush my hand off in case any seeds stuck to me. And at that point, you would, where this is already damp pretty good, you could take like a water bottle and just gently spritz a mist of water over top of it. You don't want to pour water on it. You just want to spritz it. That way you don't disturb the seeds too much. Plus your soil's already wet. So just spritz some water on top of it. Then when you get that done, you need to close it up and tape it shut. So let me show you how to do that. All right, so have my seeds down, just gently pressed into the dirt. Instead of spritzing with a water bottle, I actually got my son to bring me a little bit of snow and I just sprinkled it on top so it'll melt into it. Why not use what we have? But if you don't have that option, just take a water bottle and just squirt gently on top. You don't need to drown it. So then, before you close it up, I got ahead of myself a while ago. Before you close it up, I have seen some people say to just write on the outside to write on the outside what you planted in this jug. And then some people say label both inside and outside. I'm gonna label inside and outside. So here's another little tip on how to start seeds on the cheap, and this is also transferable out into the garden. Little markers that you would buy. Some people have, they'll buy big plastic markers, or they'll pay for these small little markers like this. Wooden markers, metal markers. If you don't want to spend the money on plant markers, or you don't have the money to spend on them, I got these free with some pots that I had ordered. You can go to the Dollar Tree and you can pick up popsicle seeds. Wouldn't it be cool if there were seeds to grow popsicles? But popsicle sticks, this is how many? 100 popsicle sticks for $1. I got the colorful pack because I like colorful things, but they also have just your standard like brown popsicle sticks, just your wood ones. But so for $1 you can use these popsicle sticks, or say you might have a pair or a set of blinds in the house that you've recently taken down, or that they're broken, so you need to take down anyway, want to take down. You can actually cut the plastic blind strips, cut them off the strings, and then cut them into sections. And it's made out of the exact same material that these are, and you can use those as plant markers. Easy peasy, and you didn't have to pay for it. So just a couple of ideas. Or if you buy popsicles throughout the year for your kids, have them save the popsicle sticks, just wash them really good, and you can write on them what you've planted. So just another little way to save money. But I have these markers that I got with some pots I had ordered a while back, so I'm just going to use them for right now. So I'm going to put wasabi, arugula. So I'm going to write it on my label, and I'm just going to stick it in the corner of the plant or the pot, and then I'm going to close up my container, and I'm going to write on the outside of it what it is also. So I have it labeled wasabi arugula. The next step is you can use packing tape. Don't use Scotch tape, it won't hold up. You can use packing tape, it does fairly decent, but the best thing to use is duct tape. I got this for $2, I think it's $2.25 at the Family Dollar. It is not as heavy duty as the actual duct tape brand, but it'll work. So all you have to do is just put tape over the section that you cut. That's all you have to do. Try to hold it together somewhat decent. Oh dear. I have a little strip that didn't want to come unattached. And there you go. So my container is now taped up, sealed up. You're going to remove the cap off the top of it. You don't need the cap that goes on top. Leave it off, so when it rains, when it snows, or if it's been dry for a long time, you can just put some water in the top and you don't have to open the container up. But that's all you need to do. Make sure before you plant, and I failed to mention this earlier, so make sure you do this before you plant. Make sure you poke holes in the bottom of it. I've got some holes, hence why it's dripping out. I've got some holes in the bottom of this. Make sure you poke holes in the bottom of any container you're planting in if it doesn't already have pre-drilled holes. That way water can drain out, because if you don't do that, then your roots and your plant is just going to be setting in a jug or a container full of water, and it's going to rot. So make sure, like, it's still dripping out, make sure you have holes in the bottom of your container. That way water can drain out. So as this is sitting outside, the water can drain through it, and it will not drown your plant. Now, once you have your holes punched, your container cut, your soil, pre-moistened soil put in there, your seeds planted, misted with some water, not watered in, but just misted with some water, labeled, tape the container shut, leaving the top off. You want to find a sunny place in your yard to set this. You can set this on the south facing side of your home because it gets the most sun during the day. That is a great place to do it. I am probably going to set mine on the south side of my house, and I'm actually going to set it underneath where the eave, the little easement off the top of my roof, where it overhangs. I'm probably going to set it there because when it rains, rain can blow underneath and get in here, but it's not setting out in the yard. So when we have a hard downpour or a heavy downpour, it's not going to like flood my jug. So I'm going to set this where it can get some water from nature but not get drowned. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to put it where it is still slightly covered underneath the side of our house. But this is a little greenhouse now that you have created. It's called winter sowing. So you can plant your cooler weather crops in here and they will start growing. I will show you in future videos, kind of keep you updated on how this is doing. But while you're here, let's see. I'm gonna plant some artichoke. Artichoke, man, they're cool plants. If you didn't know, I like to eat artichoke. They're really good. And if you didn't realize, artichoke, you're actually eating the flower before it blossoms, before it opens up. You're eating the heart of it. But the artichoke flower is really pretty. So I have one in my yard that I planted last year that didn't develop the flower. So hopefully it will do it this year, because it can last, it does last year to year. But I want to see the flower bloom. I've never seen one in person. I've just seen pictures, so I want to see the flower bloom. But I'm going to plant these to actually harvest for food, so I can make some delicious spinach and artichoke dip, because we love spinach and artichoke dip. So I'm actually going to plant these in my water bottles. Thought I had another one. There it is. This one I've already cut. So just to quickly go through everything again, make sure your containers are clean, and then you want to poke some holes in the bottom so they can drain the water out, so your plants aren't sitting there sopping in water and rotting. I'm doing tiny little nicks, that's why you see me go several times. All right, so I have my holes poked in the bottom, and now I'm going to go cut like 3/4 of the way around my water bottle. My cut is, so I've created a hinge. Okay, I have not poked holes in this one yet, so let me go ahead and poke holes in it. This one's already hinged, so they're clean. Holes cut in the bottom, hinged open. And now I'm going to put my pre-moistened soil. Remember, I already put water in this dirt. And I'm gonna fill this dirt about 3/4 of the way up of that cut that I made. There you go. Can you see it over the glare? The sun has now decided to come out. To this one, I'm trying to do it backwards. Be careful with this plastic when you cut it because it is sharp and it can cut you. So just be careful with that. Okay. So have this in there, tamp them down a little bit. And now I am going to plant my artichoke. Artichokes are frost hardy. Mine has been snowed on. It's had ice setting on it for many, many days at a time. And it's still doing really well. It's still beautiful looking. I think the artichoke plant itself is really cool. It looks almost prehistoric because of the way its leaves come out. They're kind of like spiky looking. It looks almost prehistoric. All right, so artichoke, you sow 2 to 3 months before average last frost. We're there. Transplant to rich, deep, well-drained soil. So remember me telling you that there are some seedlings or seeds that require, cool, very good. Some seeds that require, it's called cold stratification, but where they have to be cold for a certain amount of time before they'll start growing. I mentioned artichoke is one of them. So this tells you seedlings require a chill period, nights below 45, but above freezing to produce artichokes. So we're in that time frame. I will keep an eye on the temperatures, and if it looks to be like the temps are gonna get below freezing at night in the next couple nights, then I'll bring these probably to our laundry room. That way they still stay cold, but it doesn't get to freezing temperatures in there, and then set them back out in the daytime. I'm going to put 2 seeds in each of these containers. So I'm going to put one to one side of the container. How deep did it say to plant? 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to put one on one side, one on the other, and just gently press it in. One on one side, off my finger, and one on the other side. The artichoke I grew last year, I grew from seed, and it has done really well. Rest of these back in. So I don't know, I'm gonna try to do this so where it don't spill out my dirt. But I've got one seed right here and a seed over here. I'm just gonna put a little, it does look like a chair. I'm just gonna put a sprinkle of dirt over each one. Nothing much. Tamp it down gently. This is really wet soil, so I'm not gonna water it in very much. Cool. My son's out there playing with some firewood that we have, building stuff with it. All right, so got this in here. I am going to put a label on the inside. I'm actually going to cut this label in half since this is a really small container. And the reason I'm labeling it both on the inside and the outside, so in case the sun fades or the rain washes off the label on the outside, I'll still have the one on the inside. Stick that in there. Put one in here. All right, so artichoke in here, and now all I have to do is seal it up. Ooh, my fingers are so numb. It's hard to tear the tape off. Your taping job does not have to be pretty, trust me. It just has to stick. need tearing tape. Ooh, it's just a little bit short on that one. And there we go. This is my artichoke. Excuse me. All right, on the outside, what this is. And I know writing does not last very well on plastic water bottles. So I'm gonna write on the tape as well. All right, so I have it labeled on the top, inside, and I wrote it on the tape. So I'm gonna do the same thing with the rest of my containers, and then I'm gonna go inside and try to warm my hands up because I'm about to freeze. But you, like I said a while ago, you want to just set this in a sunny place in your yard. I'm gonna set mine underneath the edge of the house on the south facing side of my house. That way they'll get plenty of sun through the day. They will get rainfall, but it won't be like directly into it, like heavy downpours. That way it won't drown it. My kids are having a snowball fight now. And then I'll check this every once in a while. You can tell like by the weight of the jug and by looking at the soil that if they start getting dry, you can just pour just a little bit of water in there, or take your little spray bottle and mist into it to keep that soil nice and damp, but not too damp. I'm gonna put this on the south facing side of the house so it'll get plenty of sun. Make sure you use clear containers or like translucent containers like milk jugs. That way sun can pass through without any issue. If you have darker colored containers, probably don't want to use those because it's not going to let the sun come through like it needs to. I'm going to keep an eye on the weather. If I see temperatures are dipping below freezing, I'm going to bring these into an area where they'll still stay cool at night, but they won't freeze. That way the seedlings can germinate and grow like they are supposed to. But here is a great way to get a head start on your spring and summer garden, and how to do it cheaply without having to buy seed trays like the 6L pack I just showed, or without having to buy big seed trays like this. You have everything you need at home. I'll set that right there. You have everything you need. You just got to plan ahead a little bit and just save up the supplies. Ask friends, family, neighbors to save up supplies. That way you can make your own little seedling trays. But there you go. I hope you will give this a try. Well, I hope this will inspire you to get a head start on planting your spring and summer garden. I hope you are able to I hope you have a lot of success with it. You don't have to spend a lot of money to grow food for you and for your family. You just got to be a little creative and to plan ahead. Thank you so much for joining me. My next couple of videos I'll actually be I'm getting bombarded with snowballs. My next videos will be starting some seeds, getting those peppers and tomatoes started. I'm also going to be starting my strawberry seeds and some onions, so I hope you will come back for that. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a blessed day. Come back to see me again.